Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News. It is April 21st, 2022. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be looking at some of the current images scrolling across your screen. And these are the sunspots that everybody is talking about in the science world, pretty much worldwide. Sunspots 2993 and 2994. Now, listen, folks, I've been getting a tremendous amount of emails and questions and also comments under the videos and on social media. And understanding the situation that's occurring right now does take a little bit of learning. And I don't want people to have misunderstandings. So whenever I'm reporting on this activity or this kind of activity on the sun, again, I've said this many times before, this is a kind of a learning purpose for a lot of people that just do not understand the research into the sun, heliospherics, helioscience, things of that nature. When I show events like this, I don't want to scare people and lead people on to think that, oh, the world's going to end, the apocalypse. No, but, however, there have been situations on this planet that have affected mankind over the centuries that have been directly related to the sun. One of them is the Carrington event of 1859. Now, what I've done, so everybody gets a real good understanding of what I'm going to be talking about in the very near future here and for quite some time, is what could happen now and in the future will affect this planet greater than it did back in 1859. In 1859, they didn't have a massive electrical grid. They didn't have automobiles that pretty much are run by computers. They didn't have jumbo jets transporting passengers and cargo across the skies. So, you see, there's a big difference in time between that event in 1859 and 2022 and beyond. So we have a lot more to lose at this point in time. The population is also greater. So some people may think that the reporting on these types of situations on the sun, may be fear-mongering or whatever. But on this channel here, we're here to learn. We're here to educate ourselves. We are here to increase our knowledge and also uncover the unknown and uncover things that, the government just doesn't want us to know about or understand. So these sunspots that are strolling their way across the northern hemisphere of the sun, they're pretty damn big. And they've been producing a lot of X-flares. X-flares produce a lot of radiation. And in the course of any event that these sunspots disperse, explode, or coronal mass ejections occur towards the Earth, they're going to be pretty damn big. Massive filament releases, ultra-hot plasma, heavily charged particles spewing from the sun, heading towards the Earth, impacting the Earth, can cause very, very serious damage to our electrical grid. Okay, so I'm not saying that we're going to have this big blast and the sun is going to fry the earth and every human being on the planet. Yes, that could possibly occur. Do I think that's going to occur? No. However, these massive solar storms are now being talked about more and more and more in the media. The media is catching on. Science papers are being written now on a daily basis and published. I've been reading quite a few of them. What has opened my eyes is when reading some of these papers, you can literally feel the fear of the author who is writing the scientific paper, because pretty much all of them are stating that any time between now and 2025, we could have, I'll repeat this, we could have another Carrington event. And even if it was half of the power, which was equivalent to 10 million atomic bombs, impacting, that energy impacting the earth. Back then, 1859, they had telegraph lines. They were catching fire. They were burning. Massive earthquakes occurred. Massive earthquakes. All through the New Madrid Fault. Lakes within that area. One lake completely disappeared and never came back. The earthquakes lasted for weeks. The telegraph system completely destroyed. Key point: lack of communication. No communication. No ability for communication. Can all of you imagine that there could come a time when you need to pick up your cell phone and you need to make an emergency call? But guess what? Your cell phone doesn't work because all of the satellites that this planet uses, the people on this planet uses to communicate and travel, will no longer exist. They will be fried to a crisp. The internet service, gone. The electrical grid on the planet turned to darkness. That is the major danger. So that is one reason why I pay very close attention to the activity on the sun. Plus, on top of that, folks, let's just face it, the amount of radiation that pours in on this planet over the course of the last, I'd say probably about the last 6-7 years has steadily been increasing. Not too many people want to talk about that. The extreme ultraviolet rays of the sun have pretty much destroyed the North Pole, the melted ice. And yes, as time goes on, sea level rise will be a factor. But besides all of that, this is one of the main reasons why I go over this information. A lot of people may think it may be repetitive or it may be boring, but listen, folks, remember, again, knowledge is power. This helps a little bit with the fear factor. Yes, this cluster of sunspots is very huge, massive. It is also kind of unusual. So that kind of leads me, and I guess all of these helio scientists, to be on guard and to watch what is happening closely. Because if something does occur back in 1859, they didn't have a warning system and the technology and satellites out there to detect this solar energy and give us a warning. If something were to occur, we would have, some hours, maybe even days, a few days of warning. But is there anything that the human beings on this planet can do to stop it? No. But there are things that you can do to prepare. How bad it would be? Well, that's an impossible question to answer. But if it happened in 1859, what makes you think that it can't happen again? And are we prepared? Are we ready for it? Because, folks, just based on the laws of averages, and the other factor of what is now orbiting the sun, and this stellar core object, again, that we call Planet X, that has wreaked havoc on the sun during a solar minimum, when the sun ceases to have a lot of activity. But this last solar minimum, solar cycle 24, was very, very active, producing coronal mass ejections almost on a daily basis. We didn't have the sunspots, but we had the magnetic or electrical or plasmatic connections between that object and the sun. And that was at a point when the sun was resting. Now the sun has awoken with a vengeance. And this cluster that we are now experiencing, AR 2993 and 2994, this is just the beginning. So, what do we do about it? Well, again, we pay close attention to it, we monitor it, we learn about it, and we also prepare in the event that we would have power outages. The other day in my video, when I mentioned during the last solar storm we had, there were power outages here in my area of about 120,000 people. Unexplained. I called the electric company to see if there was an accident or something nearby. They had no explanation that they could give me over the phone. And yeah, there were no accidents. And no accident, car hitting a pole would cause 120,000 people to be without power. Upon me making that statement in that video and talking about that, I got so many messages and emails from people all over the globe telling me on or about the same day they had power outages, and they also had internet outages, and they also had cellular telephone outages where their cell phone just did not work. They had no service. Okay. We don't hear too much about that on the news or mainstream media. But I guess when people get together in this form, and I'm telling you what I experienced, and you're able to, drop a comment, send me an email, and you're letting me know what occurred on your other side, or on the other end of the planet on your side. So now we're able to start putting 2 and 2 and 2 together. And we're actually starting to see that these stronger geomagnetic storms are already wreaking havoc and causing intermittent issues. So that tends to make me a little uneasy. Because you literally go from using your cell phone 1 minute to having to start a fire to send smoke signals. That's crazy. What's even more alarming is this is just the beginning. So if we're already having these issues now, in the beginning, that are quite noticeable, and that are affecting maritime travel on the oceans, air travel in the sky, basic travel of human beings on this planet using GPS, cellular outages, power outages. Incredible. And we're only in the beginning. And the bigger question is, are we ready? Because, again, this can happen at any time. And when it does happen, it is probably going to cause a lot of problems. Especially if the Earth literally goes black into darkness. You know, I mean, that's what they're always calling for every year. This 3 days of darkness. But I'm going to tell you something, folks. If something like the Carrington event, or even half of that, even occurs, if that happens to this planet in this day and age, it's going to be more than 3 days of darkness. That much I can guarantee. Yeah, that's a fact. Also, probably tomorrow, I'm trying to work things out with my schedule, but I'm going to give all of you an inside look on the program that I have access to, that I've had access to over the last, it's all been close to, 4.5, almost 5 years now. And it's actually gotten better. The technology to revealing this stellar core object, this Planet X object, the access that I have to very sophisticated, high technology programming that allows me and you to see what is really there. I'm going to show you briefly how it works, and you're going to actually see it in progress right in front of your eyes. You're going to see how the sophisticated photo program that is very, very similar to a CT scan. Yeah. It is basically the same type of technology. If you're not familiar with CT scanning could go and it could peel back microscopic levels and see into something. And naturally, CT scans are used in the medical industry. But a lot of you don't know that for many years now, CT scanning technology has really moved up in some levels of imagery. The data that is seen through the websites, the public viewing websites, I found out several years ago that that's not the data. That's not the real data that's coming from the spacecraft. Yeah, there's a whole nother data set. And when I figured that out many years ago, Oh, yeah. Now I had to find out and figure out a way to get it. Get it and translate it. Well, I am far from a computer engineer. Far, far, far from any hacker. But anywho, with some help, and we kind of stumbled onto this, and over the course of a few days, all hell broke loose. And the technology over the last 4.5 years has gotten better. I can't really talk too much about how the data from the coronagraphs is obtained. Okay? So we'll just leave that subject matter alone. But if there is something that appears in the SDO imagery or the LASCO, SOHO, or stereo coronagraphs, before that data is released and uploaded for public view, oh, you could better damn believe that it is scrutinized. And we've seen many, many times over the years just the complete loss of data. They just cut it out. But if you were able to get the original data that was, basically streamed from these spacecraft to the Earth to be received, if you were able to get that data, well, then you just found the golden nugget. But then you have to be able to translate and decode that data. Yeah. So as soon as I get some time, I'm going to talk more about this subject matter, because a lot of people ask me, well, why can't they see it, or why can't I go to this website and see it? Believe me, I asked the same questions like that for over a decade. And maybe, I don't know, just maybe, it was, I don't know, maybe my calling, because one day it just popped into my head. And I realized that I wasn't actually getting or seeing the real data. And how I discovered that, it just popped into my head. So I did some research on it. And I actually watched some NASA promotional videos that were the behind the scenes at the Solar Dynamics Observatory, which you're looking at on your screen right now. Back behind the scenes in the computer rooms with that picture, and many others streaming back from the SDO spacecraft to the scientists in the control room with massive flat screen TVs up on the wall. Like there was, I think there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There were 8, 4 on top of each other, and then 2 more, 1 on each side. What were they watching? They were watching the same damn thing that we're watching. But it looked like they were watching it in almost real time. And what they upload to the public access websites is a little bit different. And I noticed what they were looking at was in ultra high definition. Yes, sirree, Bob. We don't get to see the ultra high definition. They do. And they go ahead and they knock down the resolution. And they also cut things out. But anywho, yeah, so I'm going to be doing a video on this, and I'm going to be showing all of you this. Hold on one sec. Okay. Let me go ahead and jump out of this video. This is all the current activity. There's some information about what's happening right now on spaceweather.com. If you guys want to, pull it up on your computer or cell phone, you could go ahead and read about it. A lot of X flares being produced left and right. One very, very strong M-class flare just below an X-class, an M9.6, just a few digits away from an X-flare. What I want you guys to do, let me go ahead and get out of this. This is your homework assignment. I found a very, very good video that was referred to me. And this young lady is, this video, she is a physicist. She studies the sun. And she's talking about what is actually happening with these sunspots. And also referencing the Carrington event. Okay. She did a YouTube video about this a couple days ago. And I would love to sit here and watch the whole video with you guys. It's about 11 or 12 minutes long. But because of the copyright restrictions on YouTube, I don't want to mess around there. So what I did, and again, for some more better understanding, is I've written up an article and I've gathered some information on the 1859 Carrington event, solar storm. It had the power of 10 billion atomic bombs. Earlier I said 10 million. We'll replace that M with a B. So I made a mistake there, but it was about 10 billion atomic bombs. Are we ready? Are we ready for this? That's the big question. So I'm going to leave the link to this article. I'm going to leave the link to this article, and I'm going to pin it in the comment section. Okay? At the very top. All you guys got to do, go there, click on the article link, and you could read the information. But right in the very beginning is I took her video and I embedded her YouTube video into the article. Okay? So all you have to do is click right here. Turn your volume up, click right there. I believe it's about almost 12 minutes long. But she details and she talks about the Carrington event, what was occurring, and what scientists are really, really looking at now up until 2025. And she's talking about a solar storm, a situation that missed the Earth just by 9 days. 9 days of rotation. That's the title to her video. It missed us by 9 days. And then as you see the title there, 2025 may be worse. Okay, folks? So, when this video ends, dip down to the comment section. It will be pinned in the very first comment. Click on that. Scroll down just a bit, right to there, and start watching the video. Now, I did write a bunch of additional information, some a little scientific, more education because I'm going to be probably referencing this Carrington event, the things that happened. This gives a little talk about the classification of geoelectrical storms, the classification using G1 to G5 and G6 and so on and so on. So, you could just simply read through that, give you a little bit of a brush up or refresher course on what I'll be talking about in the very near future. At the very end, I also embedded my latest article, Extremely Large Sunspots Turning Towards the Earth and Planet X Appears. Now, I do have some new photo captures that have come in, but I'm going to be sharing those with you whenever I talk about the photo and imaging processing, how I obtain it, where I get it, how this process occurs. Because, folks, there's nobody else. There's nobody else that's able to show you these types of images. This took me decades, years, working on all of this. Then one day, I don't know, that light bulb went on, bingo, and within a very short amount of time, we were now getting the clearest images of this stellar core that we call Planet X. We were getting the best images that the public, the world, has ever seen. And you're only going to find them right here on this channel called Planet X News. Okay, folks? So when this video is done, go down to the comment section, and the very first comment that's pinned there, you will see the direct link for this article. Click on it, go down there, take 11 minutes of your time, and watch this video right there. All right, folks? Stay tuned, be safe, take care, and again, I will try either tomorrow or Saturday to get this next video out talking about the Planet X imaging, the program, the data, and the new images that were just captured the other day. Okay, folks? I'm out of here. Have a great evening. Take care and share the video.